Hello, everybody. In Chapter 4, we're going to be talking about building an e-commerce presence through websites, mobile sites, and apps. So we're going to start out here with a little bit of discussion, and this is the first part of Chapter 4 in your reading. So it goes into detail about Walmart redesigning their website to keep up with Amazon. So the question here is why is Walmart considered an underdog in e-commerce arena? Overall, I think they're just an underdog in e-commerce arena just because they weren't that first mover in it. When you think Walmart, you typically think of a store presence. You don't think about going onto their website, purchasing something and then having it sent to your home. Whenever you think about that, you think about Amazon. So whether you needed to buy paper towels, any other household items, anything like that. For the most part, people just tend to go to Amazon for it and just have it directly shipped to their home. Now with Walmart, they're slowly but surely gaining ground on Amazon, just because Walmart is such a big presence in the United States. It's one of the biggest companies in the United States for that matter. So they have a lot of resources to kind of throw at their website design, and then they've also started to do things such as in-store pickup, to where you don't even have to go to the store. You can just pull up. They're able to bring out your groceries or anything else that you ordered right to your car. So it kind of saves you a little bit of a trip, but you're still having to make the trip to the store. So if you do live within 5 to 10 miles of that store, that might be kind of a convenience factor for you, because it can be done within typically an hour for you. Whereas Amazon right now, especially in some of these remote places, say like I live in Lincoln, Illinois, so like Amazon is not going to be able to deliver something within an hour to me. And even Springfield, for the most part, isn't going to have that option when it comes to Amazon. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens between Amazon and Walmart. I think I've said in this past, and Walmart is completely obsessed with Amazon and how to beat them. And it's just kind of funny considering Walmart is much bigger than Amazon right now, even though perception-wise, a lot of people might not think that. So whenever you're imagining your e-commerce presence, here's some things to think about. And we're going to go over all of these things in a little more detail, in the next few slides. So what's the idea? So the vision of your business includes, so you need a mission statement, you need to figure out that target audience that you want to go to, intended market space, your strategic analysis, marketing matrix, development timeline, and then also preliminary budget. So, as far as, figuring out, where's the money, need to figure out a business model and revenue model, where you're going to get that startup cash, once you do start get business rolling, where's the money going to come from as far as the revenue goes, who and where is your target audience, so, demographics, lifestyle, consumption patterns, etc. We've talked about this a little in the past. So, if you're trying to go back, market towards a different type of, segment within the market, such as millennials, baby boomers, whatever it might be, lifestyle, that kind of plays a pretty big role, especially like in a social media presence. Like what kind of lifestyle are you wanting to portray? Are you wanting to be like a very like athletic type of lifestyle for your company? And then consumption patterns, for the most part, what is your target audience? What are they buying? So, and then what is the ballpark? So characterize the marketplace. So overall size of the marketplace, if you want to go, for millennials, what is the estimated growth within that, the demographics, and then also the structure of it. So, where's the content coming from? Know yourself SWOT analysis, and we're going to go over a SWOT analysis here as well for those of you who don't know about that, and then develop an e-commerce presence map. Develop a timeline, so milestones. So within the first 3 months, what are you hoping to accomplish? The next 3 months, so on and so forth. And it doesn't have to be 3 months. It can be kind of any sort of timeline that you're wanting to go with. And then how much will this cost? So, a simple website might be up to $5,000. A small startup, you're looking $25,000 to $50,000, and then a large corporate website, if you're putting a lot of investment in that, a lot of resources into it, it could be $100,000, even up to $1 million or so on for the cost associated with that. So a lot of money invested into it. So for a SWOT analysis, if you've taken an intro to business course, SWOT analysis is probably something that was mentioned in that. And then if you take any other business course from here on out, SWOT analysis is definitely going to be talked about. So SWOT analysis, this just kind of breaks down, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats when it comes to organizations. So as far as your strengths go, current sites do not address market needs. You need something with unique approach. Your site has easy navigation. You have really good personalization. Your customer base is growing. You have good market value, and then your superior social strategy. Some of the weaknesses involved with it, so you might have limited financial resources, no prior online experience, no existing user base, no media attention, no website design expertise, and then no computer background, which definite weaknesses there. And then opportunities. So you have the ability to address large market with unmet needs, potential to capture significant share of the market, and then potential to develop related sites. Some of the threats, approach could be copied by competitors. Advertisers may not want to try the new site, and then rapid pace of technological development, and then you've got low market entry costs. So it's always a really good idea whenever you're coming up with a new business plan, or even for an existing business, if you're wanting to go to just write down a quick SWOT analysis. You can generally do it within 5 to 10 minutes. Get a group together, start brainstorming about some different ideas. What is the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and the threats of the company, of the idea, and then that generally will kind of get some things rolling, and then hopefully you can help to better develop your idea in the long run. So here we've got an e-commerce presence maps, which I thought was a really good, kind of a tool here. So as far as a type of presence, whether it's website, social media, email, and then on offline medium, goes through the different types of platforms. So if it is a website, you've got traditional, mobile or tablet, and then the activity associated with that. So people are going online to search, looking for affiliates or different sponsorships. Through social media, you've got things like Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, so on. And then through that, you've got really good conversations, a lot of engagement. A lot of people do go out to Facebook pages of a company just to ask simple questions. How do you use this product? Where can I get this product? And I think social media has done a really great job as far as just overall engagement with an audience. And whereas maybe 15 years ago you didn't have that engagement. If you tried calling a company, maybe you'd get put on hold for a while. If you sent them an email, maybe it might be 3 or 4 days before you got a email back. Whereas now with social media, you typically get an answer within like a couple of hours, just because most big companies have someone designated just to answer social media questions. You've got the old email, so I've got internal lists and then purchase lists for your platform, sending out newsletters, updates, sales, and then you've got your old school offline media, which print, TV, radio. So with that, you're trying to educate your base, a lot of exposure and branding through that marketing and advertising. So as far as building an e-commerce site, it does come from a systematic approach. So the most important management challenge is, developing a clear understanding of business objectives. What are you wanting your business to do? What are you wanting it to say? Knowing how to choose the right technology to achieve those objectives. Some main factors to consider here. So, management, the success of a business definitely starts with a management. You always kind of hear that, top-down type approach. Hardware architecture, you want to make sure that you have the right hardware put into place. Same way for software, overall design of a website, telecommunications, and then also human resources, just thinking about the people aspect of your business. So the systems development, life cycle. So we've got the methodology for understanding business objectives of a system and designing an appropriate solution. So the 5 major steps involved with that. So systems analysis and also planning, systems design, building the system, testing it, and then implementation. So as far as systems and analysis planning goes, you've got your business objectives. So these are, a list of capabilities you want your site to have. Do you want your site to accomplish, this? Do you want it to say that? What kind of, display do you want it to have? So system functionalities, list of information, system capabilities needed to achieve business objectives. And then you've got information requirements, so information elements that system must produce in order to achieve those business objectives. Moving on to hardware and software platforms. So, a system is a design specification. So this is just going to be a description of main components of a system and the relationship to one another. You've got two components of system design. You've got the logical design, which is the data flow diagrams, processing functions, and databases. So a little bit of, kind of a pre-planning there on kind of how everything is going to flow. And then you actually have the physical design of everything, where it specifies actual physical software components, models, and so on. So your physical design is going to be much more detail-oriented in trying to figure out what you're trying to achieve. As far as building the system, so you've got, in-house versus outsourcing. So outsourcing is hiring vendors to provide services involved in building this, site. So, outsourcing could be, just another company bringing in a third party. They could be local, they could be within the United States, they could be out of the United States. Building your own versus outsourcing. So you're building your own requires a team with diverse skill set, a choice of software tools, both risk and possible benefits. So host owned versus outsourcing. So hosting, hosting company responsible for ensuring site is accessible 24/7 for a monthly fee. And then you've got a co-location, which a firm purchases or leases web server with control over its operation, but server is located at a venture's facility. So as far as building your own versus outsourcing, I'm going to touch on this a little bit here. So I've worked at different organizations that have gone through, systems updates where, they've weighed the options between building your own and outsourcing. A lot of the time, if you do go ahead and go with building your own, it can be very strenuous on your staff. It can be very, time sensitive, just because you might think that you can get it done within a year, but then that gets pushed out, and then you're kind of stuck doing this project for the next 2 or 3 years possibly. So I know when I was working at State Farm, they were working on it like an in-house system at that point. It was supposed to be a 2-year project, and it ended up being a 5-year project. So so there is disadvantages of kind of building your own, just because you do have to throw a lot of money and resources at it. Whereas outsourcing, the bad part about it is you don't have as much control with it, but hopefully you work with a vendor to where, you're able to describe everything in full detail. They're, very understanding of your needs, and then they build something exactly what you want it to be. The only, kind of downside with that is, the cost associated with it. So I once had a colleague kind of describe me one time, whenever a company was thinking about building, in-house versus outsourcing, he kind of listed this example where he said, I have a Ford Explorer. I've had 3 Ford Explorers, before my current Ford Explorer. So I know quite a bit about Ford Explorers, but if you ask me to build a Ford Explorer, I don't know where to start. So that kind of just summed it up for me, saying, if we want to put together a team and build, our website in-house, we might have a lot of people who have a lot of great ideas and kind of, have some familiarities, but when it actually comes down to building something, we might not have the team put into place to kind of figure out exactly how to build it. So, at that point, it might just be a good idea to kind of outsource it, or, in my, colleague's example, it might just be a good idea to go to, Ford and have them build it for you. So I always thought that was a really good example of, in-house versus outsourcing. Some of the choices in building versus outsourcing. So if you're doing in-house, your build, you're in completely in-house. Outsource, you might have mixed responsibility where you build, the outsourcing for the third party, they're doing it, but yet you're hosting it inside. That's going to have good communication between the two parties. You've got mixed responsibility for outsourcing, where you might build it in, but as far as your hosting capabilities, it might be outsourcing, and then you've got completely outsourced, which is build and host are both outsourced. So another quick discussion here. So Weebly makes creating websites easy. So, for those of you that aren't familiar with Weebly, it's a website designed for building websites for small businesses. So, what value does Weebly offer to small businesses? And then, are there any drawbacks to using Weebly to create an e-commerce presence? So, overall, I think the value that it provides to small businesses is you can create a website that is fully functional, usually user-friendly for the most part. So that's, tremendous value for especially a small business that might not have the capabilities of doing, such things in-house. I guess one of the drawbacks that I see with something like Weebly is, they have different type of plans. and templates that you can use on Weebly. So, your website might be exactly the same as maybe like one of your competitors if they're using Weebly. So that could be a drawback of it. It's where you might not have as much say into it, and then might not have a website exactly to what you want, for your specifications of your website. So I would consider that to be a pretty big drawback. So as far as going back to testing the system, so with the testing, you've got unit testing, system testing, acceptance testing. You've got A/B testing or split testing, and then you also have multi-variative testing as well. Implementation, maintenance, and optimization. So systems break down unpredictably. Maintenance is ongoing. Maintenance costs similar to development costs. A $40,000 e-commerce site may require a $40,000 annually upkeep, and then also benchmarking with that. So I need to kind of look around the landscape to see, if somebody else is managing a similar website. Maybe reach out to them, kind of figure out how much are you spending each year, each month, like on the website, and then that'll kind of help you to kind of like budget and set that benchmark for it. And then, that's a lot of things that whenever you are building a website, take into consideration the maintenance cost for it, because a lot of people think that whenever you get through the kind of initial costs of it, maybe it's like $100,000 to build a website. After that, it's done, it's complete at that point. You don't have to worry about updating it, but at the same time, you're going to have to still have a lot of money and resources put towards that website, just because like it says there, systems break down unpredictably, so it is an ongoing thing. So a simple versus multi-tiered website architecture. So as far as system architecture, this is just the arrangement of software, machinery, tasks, and information system needed to achieve a specific functionality. So if you've got a 2-tier, which is web server and database server, and then you've got multi-tier, which is web application servers. You got back-end legacy databases involved with that. So here's a chart of a 2-tier system. So, you've got your user request going to your web server, over to your database server, and then going back to the web server over to your user request for pages. And then this is going to be a multi-tier example here. So, you've got your web server layer going on down to your multi-tier layer down in the backend layer, and then going all the way up from there. So just a little more, intensive with this. Some web server software. So you might have heard a couple of these. So you've got Apache, which is the leading web server software, works with Unix, Linux operating systems, very reliable, stable, and part of open software community. And then you've got the Microsoft Internet Information Server, or IIS. This is the second major website server software. It's Windows-based and integrated and very easy to use. Some site management tools. So basic tools included in all web servers. So verify the links on pages are still valid. Identify orphan files. Third-party software for advanced management. You've got monitor customer purchases, marketing campaign effectiveness, keep track of hit counts on other statistics, and then so an example of that would be WebTrend Analytics 10. So for application servers, you've got, provide a specific business functionality required for a website, type of middleware, so isolate business applications from web servers and databases, and then you've got single function applications being replaced by integrated software tools that combine all functionality needed for an e-commerce site. So some of the e-commerce merchant software provides basic functionality for sales, such as an online catalog or list of products available on a website. You've got your shopping cart, which allows shoppers to set aside, review, edit selections, and then make the purchase, and then credit card processing, which typically works in conjunction with the shopping cart, verifies card, and puts through credit to a company's account at checkout. So most and all websites that you're using to buy, whether it be a service or a product, is going to have these basic components involved with it. And then some more kind of server software packages here. So you've got an integrated environment that includes most of the functionality needed. So you've got your shopping cart, your merchandise display, and then also your order management. Some of the different options for different size businesses. So if you do have a small or medium-sized business, you can use Yahoo Small Business or open source solutions. Mid-range, you got IBM WebSphere Commerce Express, and then Sitecore Experience Commerce, and then your high-end is going to be IBM WebSphere Professional Enterprise, and then also SAP Hybris. Oracle ATG, web commerce, etc., and then many now also available as cloud-based SaaS solutions. So, depending on what kind of site that you're building, for most of you that are taking this class, probably going to be a small, medium-sized, business where Yahoo Small Business or open source solutions are probably going to be your best bet, unless you're working for a big corporation. Some of the key factors in selecting a package, so you want to have good functionality behind it. You'll want to make sure that the website is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Support for different business models, including m-commerce, if you're doing stuff with mobile phones, business process modeling tools, visual site management and reporting, performance and scalability, connectivity to existing business systems. You want to make sure that it's compatible with your current systems that you're using. Compliance and standards. If it is like a financial institution that you're building a website for, you want to make sure it's within compliance to what the financial institution has set, and also government regulations. Global and multicultural capability. If you have a website here in Illinois, is it going to work the same way over in China? And then you've got your local sales tax and shipping rules as well along with that. So the demand for your site, so you've got customer demand, which is the most important factor affecting the speed of the site. You don't want a site that crashes if you have a lot of people getting onto that website. So you have factors in overall demand. So the number of simultaneous users and peak periods, nature of customer requests, type of content, required security, number of items in inventory, number of page requests, and then speed of legacy applications. So all of these are really good factors to take into consideration whenever you're building a site and kind of figuring out how busy the site going to be. If it is kind of pushed to the max, will we still be able to perform our regular duties on the website? So here's a pretty good list of different things that annoy customers. So the first one here, requiring a user to view or add or intro page before going to website content, pop up and pop under ads in Windows. The good thing about using Google Chrome is you do have those ad blocks that are out there. Too many clicks to get to the content, clicks that don't work, confusing navigation or no search function, requirement to register and log in before viewing content or ordering, slow downloading pages, content that is out of date. And then, continuing on, inability to use browser's back button, no contact information available, unnecessary splash or flash screens or animation, music or other audio that plays automatically. I think that's probably everybody's biggest, annoyance on a lot of websites. Unprofessional design elements, text not easy legible due to size, color, or format, typographical errors, and then no or unclear returns policy. So overall, I thought this was a great list to kind of go over to see, most of us that get out on websites probably have some sort of complaint about it. So especially now with so much being done with advertisement on websites, we do have a lot of videos that will start playing, or you can't get into the actual content of the website before viewing a video or anything. It used to be like with YouTube, 15-20 years ago, you could get onto YouTube, you could watch a video, you didn't have to worry about an ad or anything. And then now, anytime you want to watch a video on there, you have to watch, ad, whether you got to watch the full 30 seconds of the ad, or if you have to just watch the first 5 seconds and then skip the rest of the ad. So I would say that's probably my number one annoyance whenever I'm going to, YouTube page anyways. So some personalization tools, for websites. So, the ability to treat people based on personal qualities and prior history with the site. So, if you've had somebody who, logs into your website before, maybe you're like, an alcohol website where you have to be 21 to enter the website. Down below it talks about cookies, which is the primary method to achieve personalization. So, putting a cookie onto that person's computer and knowing it, for a fact that person is 21, then that way if you're getting onto their website, each and every time, for a fact that they're 21 and they don't have to enter in their, birth date every time they get on there. Overall customization, so ability to change the product to better fit the needs, of the customer. So, as your company develops and grows, you want to make sure that you have, the customization behind it to make sure that you're keeping up with the customer. And, privacy policy, so a set of public statements declaring how a site will treat customers' personal information that is gathered by the site. A lot of times you'll go on a website and I'll have a quick, privacy statement or a policy on kind of the lower bar there, and then you'll have to accept it to get into the website and that sort of thing. So it's one of those things nobody ever reads, but there is information in there saying, they are going to put a cookie on your computer or whatever it might be. Accessibility rules, so a set of design objectives that ensures user with disabilities can effectively access, site. So, if you do have an individual that, is blind, and then, they're surfing, on the internet, then, they can, get onto your website, and, they're able to possibly have like certain things read to them because obviously they can't read in that situation. So, just making sure that you do have those rules put into place. Planning and building a mobile presence. So identify business objectives, system functionality, and information requirements. So, your choice. So you've got a mobile website or a mobile web app. This is going to be less expensive, or you have a native app, can use a device hardware, and it is available, offline. I think for the most part, most websites that are out there will have, the option between a mobile website and also the app. A lot of the times I just like using the regular like mobile website for a lot of things, and then I'll get a pop-up that'll display saying, do you want to use the app in that situation? I've got enough apps on my phone, and that's another annoyance that you can kind of add to that list we were just talking about, where if you are looking at a mobile website, maybe I don't want to use the app. The one that comes to mind a lot of times is LinkedIn. I don't have the LinkedIn app. I will get out there on their website. I don't use LinkedIn all that much to begin with, but I'll check it once every couple of weeks or whatever. Whenever I get on their website, that's the first question that website asks. If I want to download the app. I don't want to. I just want to continue using the mobile app, just because I've got too many apps the way it is. I need to go through and probably delete a couple of mine, and I think a lot of people are kind of in the same boat as me in that situation. You got a mobile presence design consideration. So with that, you've got your platform constraints, whether it be graphics or file sizes. Mobile first design, so a desktop website design after a mobile design. Responsive web design. So CSS site, adjust layout of site according to device screen, resolutions, depending on kind of what you're looking at. And then you've got adaptive web design, which is, server delivers different templates or versions of site optimized for your device. So performance and cost consideration. So, mobile first design, this is going to be your most efficient out of it. You got your mobile website, which is resizing existing websites for mobile access, is least expensive. Mobile web app, this can utilize browser API, and then you've got your native app, which is going to be your most expensive, and then requires more program, just because it is kind of a separate product that you're having to deal with. So that's all I've got for chapter 4. We will see you next time in chapter 5.